Alright guys, so let's take a look at an item I got here a while back, a few weeks back. Kobalt had a deal, which I did a review on. Buy a case, 2 batteries, and a charger, pick out a tool. So 2 of them were a 1/4 inch and a 3/8 inch impact, which I did a review on. And today, we do the 3rd tool, because I bought 3 sets of these, is a 4.5 inch compact circular saw. Item number 5645470, model number KCCS 124B-03. Now, one of the things I got to point out right away is one of the reasons that attracted me to the Kobalt battery operated was, well, obviously it's battery operated. You could take it where you don't need to have a plug-in, don't need your cord. It's small. You can use it for plunge work. It'll work on sheet goods, plywoods. But I have this Rockwell saw. It's the number 314 Type 1 trim saw that I bought back in 1979. I did a review of this on my YouTube channel. And it takes the exact same size blade, 4.5 inch, and it has the same 3/8 inch arbor diameter. So now, I've got a saw that either one will take blades from where I can get anywhere. So again, that was when I saw that, I said, whoa, I've got to get that, because I've got the best of both worlds. I've got my cordage unit, and I've got my battery operated. And by the way, this is gear drive, or worm driven. This thing kicks ass. It still works beautiful to this day. Let's just give this thing a listen. Love that sound. So back to our subject at hand. When you get this, you will get a user's manual that will point out things that you may or may not know. So good to have that. And definitely something that would be of interest to the prospective customer would be the product specifications. And guys, it's important to understand this is the tool only. The batteries you must get separately. You will get a blade, carbide tip, 24 tooth. You'll get this adapter, I'll show you that later, that fits into the side for 1.25" sweeper, shop vac, which is nice because you'll never get all the dirt and dust, but you'll get a lot of it. You'll get a lot of it. And then you get something that I feel is probably the most useless accessory ever. With all the saws that I've had, power saws and different types of tools that have edge guides, this is an edge guide. I probably could count on, I don't know, a couple fingers the amount of times I've tried them. They're just not for me. But if this is something that you like, you will get an edge guide. I've got to say, with this 24 volt max extended run battery, 4 amp hour, it's got really nice balance. So taking a look at the exterior, obviously you've got the battery goes in here. You've got the classic rubberized areas in black for around the handle. Here's where your blade goes. We'll put one in. Here's your blade guard, retracts nicely. Then this is how you bring the base. Yeah, let me get my other hand on it here. So to raise and lower the base, you've got this that you put your hand on, and then this lever, and it's nice, it's got these teeth. See those cog teeth there? And that appears to be some kind of a nylon. That's not aluminum. And so what you would do is you'd push this. You can see right there. You see that activated? And that goes into those teeth. And then that is what allows this base. So it's kind of nice. It doesn't have, normally you'll have like a locking knob somewhere. So this is kind of nice. I like this. So as long as you can get into one of these notches, you know, that would be your depth. So you may conceivably be a hair. I can't see it being a big issue because there's so many of those teeth there. But so you don't have unlimited, I don't know how to say it, when a knob you could tweak it to, like, you know, the millimeter. But here, like I said, I don't think you're going to run into a problem like that, because all you want to do is make sure you're not cutting so deep into your stock. So I don't see where this will be an issue for me. But I kind of like the way they've dealt with that aspect of it. As we move around to the front, we see that we can tilt the base for cutting multiple angles, and it goes up to 45, and you've just got this lever that you release like that, and then now your base and then to lock it in place, obviously just bring that lever back and you are now locked in place. So that's nice. The next thing is for that edge guide. And you'll notice that this is what locks the edge guide down. And you'll see that it's spring loaded. Now the reason for that is so that when you're operating this, vibration will tend to loosen this up and you could lose that. But the spring keeps tension on that and will prevent that from backing off and possibly losing your lockdown knob. Again, like I said, I don't use that. I'll just keep that just like that. But for those that do use the edge guide, that's what it's for, and it goes down through here. The next thing is we want to take a look at the switch, and this has one of those where you either have to push this side or this way to release the switch. So you've either got to push like this, it's a safety, or depending on which way you want to do it, like this. So depending which hand you've got on here, you can either use the thumb on this side to release it, or if you got it held the other way, just like that. As I mentioned earlier, this is the adapter. Your 1¼ holes would go in here. That would go in there like that, allowing you to hook up. So if you're doing work, especially inside of a home, and you just don't want to have, you want to minimize as much dust as possible, that's where that would come in. Next thing we want to do is put the blade on. So what's really nice here is they have provided you with the Allen wrench to do that. And you can see that it's nested in here, pulls out just like that. Over here is the mechanism that will activate, or that you push down to lock the arbor. And then that way it allows you, once the arbor's locked, to loosen the nut. Now, to do this, these are left-hand threads. So normally, by rotating it in a clockwise direction, you'd be tightening a bolt or nut. Here, you're loosening that bolt. And that's because the rotation of the blade as it goes around, like this, if it was going the other direction, you'd possibly have a good opportunity to loosen the nut while you were actually sawing, which is not a good thing. And as a reminder, on this washer, you can see that it shows the lock here, which means tighten, and unlock symbol here, which means loosen. Now, another thing you'll notice, guys, is that the cutting head is on the left side of the handle versus the majority of saws that are on the right side. Now, they do make left-handed saws, but majority of them will have the cutting head this on the opposite side of your handle. Here, it's on the left side of your handle. And that's evident by the print, the writing on the blade. Normally, when it goes the other way, you'll have the writing on this side, because when it goes in and it cuts, it's going to cut like this, cut up, so your writing would be on this side. But in this case, they've got the writing like this, because being on the left side, it's going to rotate like this and cut. Now, one thing I want to point out, and this is with so many blades today, I've been in carpentry since the mid-70s, and you'll notice the carbide is so freaking, they hardly give you much carbide on these blades today. I don't know what they're afraid of, trying to be cheap, but I've got old blades that the carbide is so much thicker. Now, obviously, this is a small blade, and but I've got older Rockwell blades that the carbide is much thicker, meaning there's more to it if you want to sharpen. Alright guys, let's get that blade put on. I'll pull back on the guard, and this will just go in here like that. We've got to put our thick washer on, and you'll see that it actually has flats on it, so keep it from rotating around. Put that on like that. And when we put this nut on, remember, we don't want it, we want to turn it counterclockwise. Okay, so I've got that seated. Now, we still got to tighten that. So what we have to do is, there's that lever. I'll put the Allen wrench on here. Excuse me. Then I'll gently push down on the lever and turn it until it seats, just like that. It pushes down, and then give it a nice gentle tug. And this blade is ready to do some work. And then we'll put our Allen wrench tool back. It's in there nice and snug, as it should. And it should go without saying, but when you're going to change the blade, it's always best to disconnect the power. Whether it's a corded tool and you disconnect the power cord from the electric, or battery operated by pulling the battery. And I know, I've done it. You get kind of lazy, you're in a hurry, and it's just never a good thing. Always disconnect anytime you're changing any kind of blade on something, because you're really screwed if that thing starts up. And I don't care what kind of a power tool that's got a cutting edge, always disconnect it from the power. Alright, boys and girls, let's attach that battery just like that. It's got a nice blade. It stops nice and quick, the brake. And guys, before we sign off on this review, let's take a look at that LED light that we have back here to illuminate our cutting line.